Hello everyone, welcome to my monk tutorial on how to tank. Um, so you'll see I'm doing this in Ruby Life Pools. Gonna do Mythic level 4, Mythic plus level 4. The main thing about monk tanking is the way you take damage is you take a hit and you'll take something called stagger, which you'll see a little bar right under here on my health bar. You'll see it go up and down all dungeon. Basically, it takes a hit, transfers it into a partial hit, as well as what we call a dot, which is a damage over time, which is based on your agility level. So the better gear you have, the more agility, the better you can handle the damage. Stagger also affects magical attacks at about 45% effectiveness, so you'll see me take quite a bit of magic damage, and you'll see like I don't stagger it as well. That would be why. Couple other things is the monk mastery is called elusive brawler. Basically, what this does is every time I take a hit or I use blackout kick, which you'll see on this number 4, and you'll see me hitting it all the time, it increases my stagger chance or my dodge chance up until I successfully dodge, and then it starts all over. I'm going to go ahead and start the video. As I go, I'll explain a few things as well. So, countdown, and you'll see me just pull this first mob with a chi wave, followed by a kick smash and breath of fire. You just saw me hit what's called purifying brew, which is right here. Basically, that just purifies my stagger, as well as heals me for about 25% of the damage it clears. It's a good, it's going to be the button that you'll see me hit all the time. It's how I manage my stagger, so I just took that big hit and I purified it. Pulled this group and you see me just kind of hitting that blackout kick. I stun these mobs to kind of manage the damage that they're doing. Didn't really have anything to hit there. They're almost dead, so I go ahead and pull the next group.
Tectonic slam. Ice shield.
So here in a second you'll see me purify, and then I follow it up with celestial brew.
Tectonic
Celestial
slam.
brew adds a absorb shield. But if I purify before I hit Celestial Brew, it'll be a bigger shield. I go ahead and pop Invoke Nui's out here, just to kind of add a little bit of damage, plus it's a good defensive. He staggers some of the damage that I would otherwise take, so it just helps reduce the damage that I'm taking in.
Ice shield.
Yeah, here you'll see me take some magic damage. This is where I was talking about, like, stagger doesn't really manage it as well as it does physical damage. But it's manageable right here just because there's a small pack of trash. Yeah. So yeah, I go ahead and taunt that other Chill Weaver just to make sure we can end up hugging this wall with ease. Basically, the big thing we're trying to avoid is I don't want to pull that Juggernaut. Yeah, basically you'll just see managing that stagger the whole time. Yeah, so here I had to speed boost since somebody had gotten ahead of me and pulled the mini boss. Steel Barrage, he does those fire puddles that the group has to watch out for, plus it's a big tank buster, which is just a hit that we call that a tank buster because it's a hit that the tank has to mitigate the damage from, or else they take a whole lot of damage. The other thing is Blazing Rush, which he targets a random person and just charges them, so you see that right here. Basically everyone just has to get out of his way. I just hold him over here to the side just to make sure that everyone's got plenty of room to avoid those puddles. He's going to do one more charge here, and since he's dead, I'm going to go pull the boss. So Chillworn, she's a fairly easy boss. The main thing is these hail bombs, which the group has to kind of just make sure we group them up fairly tight. And then as the tank, I'm just going around the room, just making sure we have room. Chill Storm is that big tornado that you see to the right. Basically, the damage is just mitigated by being as far away as possible. Here you see her summon these whelps. I actually use Nui's out to start getting threat on those. Just helps me get threat a little quicker.
Ice forward. Frost overload.
So yeah, you see me managing that stagger even more here because I'm taking non-stop magic damage.
Chill storm.
This next chill storm, you think you see me pop dampen harm, which dampen harm. It's not a direct damage mitigation. Basically, what it does is reduces all damage I take by 20 to 50%, with larger attacks being reduced by more. So it's not a flat damage reduction. It's based on like the hits that I'm taking.
Ice forward. Frost overload.
You see me stun these whelps, try to keep them off the group a little bit so I can get aggro on them. This next chill storm, I unfortunately didn't have a cooldown for, so it was just I had to just take the hit straight up. I did pop Fortifying Brew as well for the last one. Basically, Fortifying Brew reduces the damage I take, increases the amount of stagger, increases my armor. Just overall makes me a lot tougher. And unfortunately, since the stagger doesn't work with magic damage as well, I needed to pop it just to kind of help survive that chill storm since it's the hardest hitting thing in this fight. Another thing with stagger, I took a couple talents to help with that, one being high tolerance. Basically, stagger is 4% more effective at delaying damage, and I also gain haste based on my level of stagger. So the higher my stagger meter is, the more haste I get, which brings everything off cooldown faster. Another thing is bob and weave. Stagger duration is increased by 3 seconds, causing my damage to be staggered over 13 rather than just 10 seconds. Just makes it so that stagger damage isn't hitting me as hard as fast. So you saw we flew up here. This next enemy is Thunderhead. He does a tank buster that knocks the tank backwards. So as you saw there, got me knocked back, and then he does Storm Breath, which unfortunately killed our healer here. Basically all that does is he points at a random player, and then it's just a straight line that you don't want to stand in front of. So yeah, I'm having to really manage my stagger here since the healer died, and I was just kind of on my own up here. Well, it wasn't on my own. I had the DPS, but as far as keeping myself alive, I was on my own. I go ahead and pull this next group. I pop Nui's out for this group, help manage this magic damage that comes in from this group. Pretty much, these mobs up here are nothing but magic damage for the most part, so this was some pretty tough trash for me. Had to really focus on it. You see me really managing that Purifying Brew as well as my stuns just to help manage my damage intake. Pop that Celestial Brew, get that little bit of absorb just to kind of give myself a little breathing room. Expel Harm, you see me popping a lot. Basically, as I'm doing damage and as I'm taking damage, there's going to be little healing orbs that spawn. The more of those that spawn, and when I hit Expel Harm, it pulls those in. It's a self-heal. It's very important. Gift of the Ox is basically the monk's bread and butter when it comes to self-healing. You see me pull this next group. I didn't really have any cooldowns for this group, so kind of going in with my DPS drink, and that's about it. So had to try to nuke this group down as quick as I could.
Blaze of glory. Living bomb. Inferno.
So the next
Burnout.
boss, not the next boss, the next thing you see me pull are these little ads, and I just walk backwards as I'm tanking them. And then I use Ring of Peace to knock them away. Wasn't really necessary, but I just wanted to get ahead of them. So up here, you'll actually see me pause and wait, and then I look around because I'm looking for the dragon to spawn, which I see here. So I decide to wait. I taunt him while he's in the air, just to stop him from continuing his flight path. So he does the flame breath too, but unlike the other one, which is Thunder Gullet, Flame Gullet actually does a cone in front of him versus just a straight line. Same thing, stand in it, you're pretty much gonna die. His Tank Buster doesn't knock you back. It just applies a very strong flame damage dot, which, once again, monks don't handle magic damage the best. So it as you can see, it really hurt straight up, and then applied a ton of stagger to him as well. Unfortunately, this one wasn't something the healer could dispel, so I had to take the damage. Okay, going into this pull, I do have Dampen Harm here, but I decide to pop a Celestial Brew just to give myself a little bit of a shield. I stun them to mitigate that damage as well. I had my Grief Torch, so I didn't see me pop it here to help nuke everything down.
Living bomb.
So luckily I was able to save Dampen Harm from this pull, and I believe I end up using it on the next pull. Picking up these little guys just so they don't detect the group. And then go into this.
Living bomb. Flame dance.
As you can see, I am making mistakes, like looking back. I'm popping Celestial Blue before I actually clear anything. Magic damage, so I use Diffuse Magic to reduce that little bit of damage intake I'm taking. Overall, these packs are fairly easy. They're just very hard hitting on a monk because of magic damage. Burnout. I was gonna go around the side, but saw the group wasn't gonna follow, and then decided we were actually gonna need these since I didn't pull any extras in the first hallway. So we actually needed these for our enemy forces count on the right.
Flame dance.
And again, at this point, I'm trying not to use any cooldowns if I can help it, just because I want to save them for the boss. So as you can see, I got the Dampen Harm, I've got Fortifying Brew, Nui's will be up in just a few seconds into the fight, as well as Diffuse Magic. So I'm pretty set for this fight. This fight doesn't really do a Tank Buster. The biggest thing the group has to worry about is these ads that spawn. So there's one. That was a pretty good ad spawn, actually. The next thing is this Molten Boulder, which wasn't the best, but it just meant that I had to go a different direction, which was fine. As you can see, when these ads spawn, they blow up, and they leave a giant fire puddle, which remains throughout the whole fight. So this whole fight is about managing these boulders, which unfortunately killed both our monk and our shaman damage DPS. This was a decent ad spawn. Not ideal, but it's fine. This boulder was, unfortunately, I think it killed our shaman again. But yeah, this whole fight is just about managing the boulder and those ads to make sure you can keep moving. Now that boulder wasn't the best, but it went to the side, thankfully, so still left me room to keep moving the boss.
Ritual of blaze
This
binding.
was a pretty good ad spawn. The only thing that kind of cut the group off, but
Molten
luckily it
boulder.
just hits the ground and the group is fine.
Roaring
That's
blade.
the ideal boulders that you want there. You want them to go to where you've been, not to where you're going. You saw my stagger go really high up. It's because of just the boss damage.
Molten boulder.
Since she doesn't have a tank buster, I think it's kind of scaled so her hits are harder. But overall, just
Ritual of blaze binding.
about managing that stagger, really. I think that's the first time you see my stagger actually hit the red amount, which just means my stagger meter was at about 70% of
Roaring
what I can
blade.
actually stagger.
Burnout.
This was the last ad we had to worry about. At this point, we just kind of focused the boss down. She's at 3%.
Molten boulder.
Molten boulder goes out, and boss goes down. So up next, there's going to be a couple warriors. I just pull them, and I don't worry about pulling them to the next person, just because I don't know the kind of damage that's going to happen. So I just decided to take these guys on alone. They don't really do anything. They can do this thunderclap, which is just an AoE, but it doesn't really do any damage. It just puts a slow on us, which as a monk, I'm not worried about. I can roll and I can Tiger's Lust out of it. This channeler though, he hurts. He does. He summons these little thundercloud ads. He does Thunderbolt, which is
Lightning
interruptible, and then Lightning Storm is the big troublemaker. Basically, he channels that Lightning Storm and does damage to the group. I actually popped Zen Meditation there, which you won't. That's probably like the only time you'll see me pop it here. The only reason I popped it is because during the channel, he's not hitting me, and I can reduce the damage I'm taking, help out the healer a little bit. Only reason I don't use it regularly, if you get melee, you lose you lose it. So, not really sure what happened here. Everything got pulled, so I just kind of I thought I'd be able to salvage it, wasted movies
Flash
out,
fire.
but we end up all dying here. So, pulling that flame channeler
Flash
again
fire.
here. Biggest thing you gotta worry about with him is flash fire. You can interrupt it, thankfully. So, as long as people are on top of interrupting it, don't have any issues with it. Due to that, I didn't do the next group with it, because the next groups both got the thunder channeler and the flame channeler. I focused the flame channeler here, so you'll see the target swap over to it.
Lightning storm.
I interrupt that flash fire just to help out the healer. And then I just focus on him just so I can keep an eye on those interrupts. Again, this is usually pretty tough pull just because of that flash fire and the thunderstorm, but we were able to get through it. And then this guy, shock blast is interruptible. It's a big hit on the tank.
Lightning storm.
He also does lightning storm, so again, just that AoE that the healer has to worry about. Not much as a monk, I can help manage with that. Especially not in this case. I don't have Zen meditation, and I'm having to mitigate damage from the warriors as well. Here's those Tempest ads getting spawned.
Lightning storm.
Lightning storm again. Just kinda taking down the mini boss. Alright, here, this boss, there's a lot to this boss. So, simplest way to explain it, the dragon has the least amount of mechanics really. He does this fire breath, which if you get hit by it, you get a dot, plus you take a lot of damage. The dot causes these puddles to spawn that you see happening here at the bottom of my screen. stand in those, you also get the dots, spawn more puddles. Kind of what you're going to see right here. I misread what the wind was going to do, and I walked right into the puddle. I actually almost dropped there because I was trying to do too much. Our shaman went down, and I think the fire killed him actually. Storm Slam is the big tank buster on this fight. Basically, he hits me for a big amount and it's magic damage, as well as puts a dot that the healer can dispel off of me, so that's nice. The dot, I don't think it's a dot, I think it just causes me to take more physical damage, which wouldn't be an issue, but the healer helps out here. I kind of got pinned here, so I had to go through the breath and take the fire dot and drop some puddles off to the side. Winds of Change is that wind I was talking about. Moves the puddles, so you got kind of be on top of like paying attention to how it's gonna blow. That way you can read where you need to move to. So phase 2 is about to start. Basically, still dealing with everything normally. The boss just jumps on top of the dragon's back, and I'm actually taking hits from both him and the dragon.
Interrupting cloudburst.
So
Roaring fire breath.
we're able to get our shaman up. Paladin did have battle res. I did use in meditation there. I'm not really sure what I was aiming to use it for.
Interrupting cloudburst.
I think I tried to Storm Slam.
Winds of Change.
Here goes winds. I was able to get away from this one. I popped Fortifying Brew to help, since I didn't want to take a ton of damage
Interrupting
this time.
cloudburst. Roaring fire breath.
Purify. I taunt just to make sure I have aggro on both of them. That's it. Killed the dragon, boss jumps back down, and we move in and finish the boss. So, as you can see, like, monk tanking is very much like managing that stagger. Stagger is definitely our biggest thing. As long as, like, you manage that correctly, your damage intake will be pretty smooth. Always make sure you purify stagger and hit that celestial brew. I made that mistake a few times where I just popped celestial brew without purifying, so I only got a tiny shield rather than a really big shield. Gift of the Ox is another one. You want to make sure you manage those orbs with expel harm. The more orbs there are when you hit expel harm, the bigger self heal you get. A tank. Some tank tips that I've learned. It's not really a tip, but one thing that I do is I use an add-on called Plater. Plater. Basically, it has those nameplates that you saw above enemies. It adds on to those so it changes their color. So when I have aggro on it, you'll see some were blue, some were pink. That meant I had aggro. Pink meant they had something that could be interrupted. Basically, it allows me to, like, on a quick glance, know if I have aggro on everything. So if it's red, I know I need to get aggro on it because it's on someone else in the group. As far as monks go, generally your biggest priority is just getting a better item level piece, more agility, more stamina, and more armor. Another thing that I personally do, I stack Critical Strike and Haste. Critical Strike gives you a chance when someone else is healed to be healed yourself as well. And then Haste kind of helps give me more energy, increases my energy rate, as well as like the cooldown on my brews is shorter, so it lets me have a little more room for error, but also gives me a little faster pace, easier management over stagger and everything. that is more a personal choice there, but a lot a lot of tanks kind of do their own thing too, because it's just it's a very much a position where you have to improvise a lot. You have to read the group. You have to make the pace of the group as well. Everyone waits for you to make moves. So once you go in, they'll go in. You're the playmaker. Everything gets done thanks to you. um, as the tank as well, you're the leader. Can't really do that. So in this group, it was just a lot of random people. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to like communicate everything. But when I'm running with people, I know I can communicate. Hey, I'm gonna stun. I'm gonna interrupt. I'm out of cooldowns. I have cooldowns for this, so you don't need to worry about it. There's a lot more communication, and I can make calls a lot easier. Um, I Tanking is a lot of fun. It's not the easiest, but I hope after this video you kind of get an idea and can kind of see how fun it can be. But that's monk tanking. It's the best way I could put it is it's just probably one of the faster paced tanks because you're having to worry about stagger, having to worry about the group, having to worry about keeping aggro. But yeah, Monk Tank is probably one of my favorites. I also enjoyed Protection Paladin, which after this I may actually do a video about that as well. But overall, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you take away some tips and tricks and get an idea on how to monk tank. Thank you.